Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, The Crazy Startup Guy. Today, we'll look into the basics of Git and explore GitHub too. We'll see the basic commands required to know the version control system of Git and also why it is required for students and developers. So let's get started. So yeah guys, we'll be learning this on Linux based Ubuntu. I have Ubuntu 20.04 which I'm using right now. So yeah, so first of all, let's have this terminal. How to open a terminal? Either you can press Ctrl Alt T, or what you can do is you can go to the show applications button. You can type in terminal in the search bar and then you can click on terminal. So to know if we have Git installed or not on a system, let's check it by typing Git. Press enter. As you can see, the output says command Git not found, but can be installed with the following command. So let's first update the system libraries. Let's type sudo apt get update. Press enter. As you can see, the libraries got updated. Now let's install Git on a system. So for that, type sudo apt install git. Press enter. Press Y, which says yes. And now all the requirement for Git is getting installed. Yeah. So now as you can see, Git got installed, and to check it, let's type Git again. And as you can see, we got an output. So this output says how to use Git and what are its basic commands. So now let's clear the screen. Let's type cd desktop, press enter. Now we are inside the desktop folder. Let's go and now create a GitHub account from where we'll clone a repository onto a local machine. Cloning means you're copying that same repository on your local machine. So let's go to GitHub login. The link for this will be below in the description. So now let's create a GitHub account by clicking on the sign up button. Let's type the username. Let's type the email address now and the password required. Now you can see the screen after we have verified our email. So this is where we'll create the repositories and all the things we do on GitHub will be there. So let's go to the profile and first see a profile. So as you can see, this is a profile and here you will see all the commits. So the first commit we had as we created the account, that's called the first commit on GitHub. So this is all the contribution. Here we can edit the profile too, and we can add a bio, we can add a company. So yeah, here are the repositories where you will find all your repositories, or what you can say the folders which you make. You can go to the home by clicking on that icon on your left hand side. So here is the student developer pack which is provided by GitHub. It is very useful pack. It gives all the paid services for free which are required for a developer. So we'll go into that, how to avail that benefits later in the next video. So yeah, let's check out the repositories. So since we have no repositories as it says, let's create a new repository by clicking on new. So yeah, let's name the repository here. Let me name it as my first repository. As you can see, I'm using dash in GitHub. You have to use hyphen, you can't use underscore. And if you're not using hyphen and using space instead, it will automatically convert it into hyphens. So let's give a description here for this repository, a repository to test GitHub commands and learn more about Git. And let's leave all this as it is. We'll create a readme file on our own. and push it here. So let's create the repository. As you can see, the repository got created, but this is on the GitHub server. It is not on your local machine as of now. Now what we'll do is we'll use this link, HTTPS link, and clone this repository on a local machine. There are different methods also to create a new repository. As you can see, we have copied the repository link. What we'll do is we'll open the terminal and we'll type git clone, which is a command for cloning the repository, and we'll paste the link here. You can paste the link by pressing Ctrl Shift V. Press enter. So since your repository was empty, you have cloned the repository on your local machine. And now let's get inside this repository, which is a folder or a directory. We'll do cd my first repository, press enter. Here we are inside the my first repository directory. We do ls to see if there's something inside that repository. As we can see, there's nothing inside the repository as of yet. Now we'll create a readme file inside this repository and then push it to the GitHub server. So let's use the gedit command, which opens an editor, and name the file as readme.md. The extension for readme files is md. So I'll write a simple text here. So yeah, we have created this readme file. We'll save it by pressing Ctrl+S, and we'll close this editor. First we'll check it. We have this file into our directory. Right now that file is only present on a local system but not on the GitHub server. We'll write git add the file name. You can also, instead, if you have many files, you can write star instead of the file name. The star indicates that you add all the files which have some changes inside the repository. So all those files which have some changes will get added to the branch, or you can say to the chain. After pressing enter, now what we'll do is we'll commit this add statement. What commit does is it gives an assurance to the GitHub that we'll push this changes to the GitHub repository. So I'll write git commit -m, and -m is a message flag which we use to give the description of what this commit includes. Okay, so now we have an error called fatal unable to auto detect email address as we haven't configured our git. So to configure a git, we have to use two commands. First, git config --global user.email and an email address in double quotes. So this command will be in the description. Let's press enter. Now we'll also configure a username by replacing the previous command with user.name and changing the email to a username. This command will also be in the description. Now let's go and add this. Since we have already added, we can commit it directly. So git commit, we use the same command. Now let's push this to a repository. Now let's push this commit to the GitHub server by typing git push. This will push the file, readme file which you created into your repository onto the server of GitHub, so that you can find the same file onto the repository you created on GitHub. So let's type git push. It will ask for the username and password for authentication, and when you press enter, it will commit the changes to your GitHub repository and push those changes there. And as you can see, the files have been written on GitHub repository. So let's go back to the window where we have opened a GitHub account and let's refresh it. So now as you can see, we have this file there onto our GitHub server too. In Git, branches are part of your everyday development process. Git branches are effectively a pointer to a snapshot of your changes. So when you make some changes, Git branches take that as a snapshot to your main branch. And when you want to add a new feature or fix a bug, no matter how big or how small, you spawn a new branch to encapsulate your changes. So when you have done with those changes, when you have tested those changes and you are ensure that they won't affect your main project, then you request for merging of this branch onto the main branch. So actually the code gets updated there when you have already tested it on a image of that main branch. This keeps the development process going on without hampering the project. So let's go back to our terminal and see how to create a branch. We'll first check how many branches we have. Let's check by typing git branch. As you can see, it only says we have a master branch which we are on currently working. Okay, so let's now create a new branch by typing git checkout dash b or hyphen b and the branch name. In this case, I am naming my branch as developer underscore 1. So when you again type git branch, you are now on developer 1 branch. You are working on that branch and not the master branch. More about why branching and all is required we'll cover in our upcoming videos. Now we will see how to make changes to this particular branch and how to reflect those changes onto a GitHub server and onto a master branch. So let's just open the readme file by typing gedit readme.md. So yeah, here is a readme file. What we'll do is we'll add a sentence to this that I'm working in my branch developer1, that is the branch name, and we'll save this file. Now let's add this file git add and the file name, and let's commit this file by typing the message as branch commit updated readme. So as you can see, it says branch commit updated readme on which branch developer 1. Now let's see how many branches we have. As you can see on GitHub repository, it still says we just have only one branch and the code it's still the same. That is, the readme file is still the same. It has not reflected or changes. So what we'll do is now we'll push the changes and a branch onto a GitHub repository. How to do that? We'll type git push origin developer 1, and this will push our changes onto the branch and create a new branch on a GitHub repository at the GitHub server. So we'll type the username and the password. So yeah, now we can see it has got pushed to the branch. A branch has been created on a GitHub repository and those changes have been pushed to the branch. Okay, but those changes won't reflect to a master branch. So let's see that. As you can see, this is the master branch which is open right now. Okay, so here it is written. When we refresh also, it is same. No changes which we have done is being shown on the master branch. But when we shift a branch to developer 1, we can see a addition of that file has been reflected on the developer 1 branch, but not on the master branch. So how to make those changes reflect also on a master branch is by creating a pull request. So we'll create a pull request which says that we ask the author to pull the code from a changes from a branch to the master branch. So we'll compare with the developer 1 branch to the base master branch, and then we'll create a pull request. So here we have the changes. And now we'll create a pull request. So we have to leave a comment. Now I'll click on create pull request, and yeah, here it is. We have created a pull request. Now what we'll do is we want to merge those changes to a main branch or a master branch. So we'll click on merge, and now as you can see, the pull request successfully merged and closed. So we have merged those changes of a branch onto the master branch, that is the master line. Now as we can see on the code that the master branch has also the reflected changes which we require. So this is the way we create a branch and we make those changes to a branch, and if you want we can merge those changes by creating a pull request to the master branch. So the master branch will get updated. Now we'll go back to the terminal and see if those changes onto a master branch at a GitHub repository is being reflected onto a local machine, because the local machine is not directly connected with the GitHub repository. We need to sync it after particular time intervals. So right now we'll check it. So we'll type git branch. We are on the developer 1 branch. Now we'll check out to the master branch by typing. We'll move to the master branch by typing git checkout master. Enter, and we have switched to the branch master. Now what we'll again check on which branch we are by typing git branch, and it says we are on master branch. We'll open the readme file using the gedit command, and as you can see this file hasn't been updated. We will pull these changes from the GitHub repository to a local machine by typing git pull. So this is how you can reflect those changes on your local machine by pulling up those changes from the GitHub repository. So that's all for today. Thank you guys for watching this video. Do like my video. If you find it useful, do share it with your friends and your classmates. This is more relevant for college students, undergrad students who are pursuing computer science engineering or information technology or ECE, where they'll be using GitHub quite extensively. So guys, Git will be a very important tool throughout your career. So guys, I will be back with a new video with a new topic very soon. See you soon guys. Also, do like, share and subscribe my YouTube channel for all the updates. Bye guys. Hala Madrid.